So the last divine and ancient major events as we know them will be coming to DML quite soon. We already know about the divine events and of course ancient events, they're running out of elements at this point. But I will be going through all of this in a moment in a little bit more detail. However, before that we do have another ancient dragon revealed to us today. If you didn't already see, this is Lamulin, the energy ancient earth dragon. And so we can see this video of Lamulin sort of flapping around, and then we get the silhouette of the final, what we're assuming is not the final reward dragon, as in the third out of the non-final reward dragon. So in this case, he kind of looks like he's made out of metal. He's got like some big power supply unit on his back. He's got like cogs on his face and obviously the zappiness on his head. So this is the latest teaser video about the new ancients that will be coming. So, you know, if you didn't already see that, there is this post here. And of course we got the other dragon Zalik yesterday. But of course we only really could guess between energy and void because these ancient events are coming to an end soon. And we did get news that the divine event that is coming up is going to be the final one. So in terms of this, we've got this message here that was posted by Adam earlier today in the official DML Discord server. And in this they said, is the next divine event really the last one? The answer is yes. And what about ancient events? They're also coming to an end. This is confirmed by the community manager in the game. So let's go read what he has to say. There's honestly not too much here, but there is some stuff that we can discuss about relating to this. So is the next divine event really the last one? Yes, it is. We've been having a divine event in one form or another since 2017, and as much fun as we had creating our own variations on the various mythologies, it's time we look to create something new for DML. In summer, we'll be saying goodbye to the divine events with a final celebration, a summer party to say goodbye to the divines. Of course, this doesn't mean we won't still have divine dragons available to collect in one way or another within the game. Simply the divine events, i.e. the month-long collection of events, will not be a part of DML, at least for the time being. We're working on something new and fun to replace these events with, which we hope to have ready sometime this year. But yes, the next Divine Fest will be the final divine event. Now, this is both scary and it could also be a really positive thing because they're just saying that the major events, as in the month-long style of events that we have, they won't be coming back. At least not in their plans so far. And if they can make shorter term events that give divines to players, I think that would actually be a much better way of doing things. Potentially. Depends on how it's done. Now, on the flip side, there's a lot of potential to make divines a lot more pay to win than they are now. Because with these month-long events, although I hate the fact that we basically have to waste a month of free time, it feels like, on resets every 6 hours in some cases, mainly for the dungeon resets, it was a really easy way for players of pretty much any level to get a free divine. So if they change things, this may make it more difficult for newer players to get divines, and in turn it's going to make it more difficult for everyone potentially to get divines. Now, that is not confirmed. We know nothing about that so far. Things could change. But that's just the first bit of thoughts on that part. And then, of course, we got the second bit, which is what about ancient events? Many players will already be aware that we are soon running out of elements to feature for our ancient events, and it is true that we are coming to an end of this particular storyline. We do have some plans in the works about how we will progress with this, but currently nothing is 100% locked in this regard, so we're not quite ready to talk about what our next steps are for these events. However, to those concerned that you will no longer be able to collect ancient dragons, don't worry. Again, we have not yet finalized our plans, but as with most of our powerful dragons, we'll be making sure they return in one way or another in-game. So, ancient events and divine events, as we know them, are going to be ending. Ancient events, people can presume it will be ending after Void. They could always go with Legendary. They've been known to change their minds, so we could have up to 2 more ancient events after the Energy Ancient event comes. But 1 more divine event, up to, as a max, I would say 2 ancient events. It's more likely 1, but they could have 2 more ancient events after this. So realistically, if they don't have a plan in place within like the next 3 months, it's gonna be just sort of throwing divines and ancients just in random places, basically. So that is the official stance and statement from DML in regards to the ending of these events. One other thing I would note about the divine section is they said they're working on something new and fun, but they hope to have it ready sometime this year. You know, there's still half of the year left, but if that only comes at the end of the year, again, that's a lot of time for us to not have any of these big events. In which case, are they going to replace it with different month-long events? Or is this the beginning of the end of month-long events? Which I would probably be in support of, but not if they're just replaced with solo events and cake crazes, because they suck. I'm sorry, Gameloft, but please, if you're going to do anything, please don't replace your divine event timings with just solo events. I would self-inflict. No, I wouldn't. That's a joke. I'd want to, in some capacity, but I just wouldn't take part, honestly. But yeah, that's the official stance. They could also just bring out like 2-week castle events or week-long castle events like they used to in that sense, and just, you know, throw divines in there, which I could see that as a good thing, going somewhat back to DML's roots in a sense. So, you know, there's a lot of possibilities here, and you know, especially when we've got these teasers for these new dragons coming out, you know, a lot of people keep saying to me, oh my god, divines aren't being released anymore. Gameloft is so bad. They're not letting us get divines and ancients anymore. No, that's not what they said. Ah, no, I didn't want to play that video. That's not what they said. What they say specifically in that post is just the month-long events, and the long events that we know aren't coming back. But the divines and the ancients will return in some capacity, but it's going to be a lot of unknowns, and if anyone tells you they know exactly what they're planning, it's a lie, because not even Gameloft knows. At this point, they don't know, so none of the players can know either. Unless they're somehow a time traveler or future teller, which I still wouldn't believe. But anyway, that's the news that I wanted to pass on today. Again, you can read this in the Asked and Answered section of the official server. But, you know, there's a lot that we could assume and take from this. Definitely a lot that we could take from it, but again, I'm going to remain positive about these changes, especially since we're getting, you know, 8-hour resets, basically things that we've been asking for 5+ years at this point. So, you know, if it means the end of month-long events, but we get something really good instead, I'm not going to complain. I'm definitely not going to complain. So anyway, that's my take on it. What do you think? Do you think it's a good thing? Are you terrified? Are you happy that this is going to be the end of the major events? You know, I want to see if they can finally get rid of dungeon being like the most key, crucial part of this game, or at least change the dungeon if you're going to still require it from people. But anyway, I'm going to skedaddle, so thank you for listening to my, I guess, mini discussioning here. But I hope to see you again soon.